Welcome, any and all, to the Movie Club Collective. I'm your host, John Olson. With me today in the studio, Jose Venutlo.
Yes, hello.
He's made every episode so far, so good job. Give him a hand. There's been 12 appearances. Nick Landa, slightly less,
Hello.
but still a regular. Nice to have you on.
Hello.
And his
thank
beard.
Writer, beard grower,
Yes.
somewhat against the internet, or at least the social aspects of the internet.
And an eternal enemy of the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a ghost of the system.
A ghost of the system. And then joining us from Brooklyn. You're in Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Chin Lee, cinematographer, designer, right?
Yeah.
Designer,
And he loves the man.
lover of movies.
Lover the man.
He loves the man.
I don't.
That's why they're in
I
opposite
think you're putting
screens.
words in his mouth. But,
Yes.
you know, whatever.
He looks like somebody who loves the man.
So today we're doing something a little different. We're attempting to shake up the show a little bit, add a little bit more, I guess, entertainment value. Not that we don't have an entertaining conversation, but I think the show could use a little structure. So we're trying something out for the first time. And this actually is something that kind of seems like might have been obvious from the beginning. I don't know. Because what we're going to do is we're going to collectively score the movie. So the way it's going to work is everybody's going to have 5 points to give or not give in 5 different categories, adding up to 25 apiece, 100 points. So this will be the Movie Club Collective's rating for the movie. So you all are lucky enough to participate in this round. The Movie Club will probably have an eclectic arrangement of reviews over time, just because we'll have different people.
I love 2 things about what is just happening.
What's
One
that?
of them is I love it. I love it when a person who is like by nature liberal uses words like order or structure, because it makes me feel that you're understanding my point of view of life and then coming a little more to the right. But
Oh wow.
in the other spectrum, I am just I forgot my other thing.
All right, let's move on. So we agreed on before the show 5 different categories that we're going to go over. We may have to shift these categories a little bit for like documentary in particular.
For solo, yeah, documentaries on like.
But for now, these
animation.
are the categories we're trying out. And they are. And I think we'll do them in this order unless anybody objects to that.
Cool.
We'll do script, which will cover the story, the
Yeah.
plot, and the dialogue.
Mhm.
We will do direction, which is going to cover kind of a lot of things, actually. It's going to cover directing, cinematography, and editing.
Got it.
So cinematography and editing. And then we'll have performance, which I guess if you want to weigh character in with performance, that's up to you.
That's interesting because I mean you maybe have a completely different perspective how a character could have been played.
Yeah.
So then the 2 things would not be mutually exclusive.
So yeah, so performance is its own category. We'll do what I'm calling the legacy category.
I love the legacy.
And what this covers is, I guess we'll score it based on the idea of how it would compare to films of its kind today.
or even
You
if
know, like, and what has its influence been on those films
Yeah.
that have followed?
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
like-
if
yeah.
you think this film has influenced a lot of things, give it points for that.
But I feel that it also includes the fact that regardless of not that you have come from that generation and understand it, do you relate to the message still?
yeah,
within
like,
this
is it
generation?
timeless?
Yes.
Okay, and then we have production value, which will cover music, costume, and art direction. This was a little tough. We put a lot of things in here because music could have been its own category.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
But
have
we're
to cover all
trying
of
to
them.
cover like a 100-point system. So
So it will be difficult for a movie to get 100 points because we all should. It will take all of us to have given
perfect
5
consensus,
points
yeah.
on each of the categories that we're like. So yeah. So then
and we
it's
can
difficult.
I think the way that we'll do it is we'll start the topic and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then you can throw out points whenever you want, and we can try to talk you up or down
I like
if we
it.
disagree with the rating. So I just want everybody to try and be open-minded and like consider the film logically, and
Well-
like if the arguments are strong,
I'm always,
you know,
I'm always
just consider it.
open-minded. Like
I just that's it.
I'm not
so
Chin.
I don't think we'll.
Chin is so narrow-minded
there's
and
been a-
close-minded. Why, Chin? Why?
I'm giving it 0 across the board.
So
Zero
I
to
don't
a-
think the opening is always going to go this long, but since this is the first time we're trying it, I
Yeah.
just wanted to be thorough.
Oh, I also want to mention something too. Nick will support me on this. I remember the second thing. The second thing is that I remember that you hated the pointy system, and then now
Yeah,
he brought a new pointy system.
Against it from the
I love this.
Yeah.
I love these changes. It's
But,
growing evolution.
See, I can be swayed by good
It's,
ideas.
exactly. I mean, he like the point system.
You know, I didn't like necessarily rating the movies myself and,
Yeah, I
and
know.
declaring that this is the be all end all score. And like this way, we have to convince each other,
Yep. I mean, I feel that it,
and we do it collectively, and it ties in with the name of
It
the
goes
show.
to the bottom line that you wanted structure. Remember?
Yeah. All right. Let's move. God. All right.
I love this.
I want to
thing.
give Chin and Nick some time on the show too,
Let's
so
do
we'll
it.
get started.
Let's do it. Nick is drinking something fun.
Something fun.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee's fun.
All right, so we'll start with the script. What did you guys think of this? What did you guys think of the story? Like, what did you guys think of all of that? Whoever, Nick, Chin.
I didn't really like the story too much. I thought it was a pretty cool concept at a very loose base, but the script and stuff I thought was not good personally. There was a lot of really stupid elements in it. Like one thing I thought was really dumb was like the inciting incident was super weak. Of they throw this huge get together. The guy gives his speech, and then a dude pulls out a gun in the middle of everyone. There's 20,000 people there, they say. He shoots the guy, and then literally just says, "Oh, he did it." And then that's how the movie starts. And I'm like, what a stupid way to frame some. Like, you couldn't have at least like written that someone wore a warrior's vest and like looked like a warrior or something. Like,
I know, like their costumes are so
Distinctive.
distinctive,
why
and
are
he
you gonna
fires
go
from the
so
middle
well?
of his group.
right.
Like
And
like 100 people would have seen it.
It
I
was
have
so
to.
stupid, I thought it was so easy to just
Yeah,
frame
I
them,
have to agree.
but they didn't even frame them. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the script overall. I just a lot of problems like that.
Yeah. Okay. Chin. What about you?
Actually, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean,
A lot. Okay.
I love movies that are. It's not really about that in particular, like that incident. It's about all these New York gangs chasing these warriors. So, I mean, it gets to the point really quickly, and then you get to enjoy the movie. The movie is not really very deep,
That's true.
If you watch the movie, you go into it knowing that it's a cult film and whatnot. You're watching it because you want to see them, get away, or all these gangs fighting each other. I mean, that's the point of the movie.
Yeah.
So they got to the point really quickly, and they shoot the head of this gang leader, this gang, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Now just get to the action, and that's what I was waiting for. So I thought it was very structured.
Do you think it?
New York.
Do you think it delivered on the action? Maybe I'm getting ahead a little bit. I think that's a separate category.
Nick is
No,
so
I
offended.
think it's a separate
West Side
category.
Story.
Nick
Like a
is
West Side
so
Story.
offended.
That's really funny that you say that, because one of the things that I read about this movie, I actually did some research this week. I'm trying to improve as a host. So one of the things I read while doing a little research was that this was partially a response. The book, at least, was a response to West Side Story and how tame the gangs were, and like it was written by a guy who had like been a social worker and dealt with a lot of actual street gangs in New York City. So he
was
wrote
a
the
youth
book
worker.
to like, accentuate a near future where like we've just let this get so crazy out of hand. So it's like it was meant to be the antithesis of West Side Story.
Interesting. What is West Side Story?
West Side.
So the other interesting thing about this book is that, and this movie, is that it's loosely modeled after a legend, or not a legend, but like a story about 20,000 Spartans who worked for a guy named Cyrus, right? Was that that was it? Or Cyrus.
Yeah, I forgot
And
about that aspect
then
of it.
he lost the battle, and like the remaining Spartans had to like make their way back through Turkey, back to Sparta, and like all the gangs they fought along the way. So it's actually, and they wanted to make it to the shores. So like much like Coney Island.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's kind of an interesting idea. Like, I'm kind of on the fence about it because on one hand, it's a terrible script with terrible dialogue. There are some fun parts. I did like the opening speech. Can you dig it? It was just so corny and like wonderful. But like, yeah, the story is not strong. The plot points are not strong. Like, what's driving them to act the way they act is not strong. They're really dumb.
Why did he kill the guy?
He's just the Joker.
I mean, starting from the fact that,
But the concept is great, and like they do make some bold choices throughout the movie. It's like story wise, I like it. Plot wise, I hate it. I guess is what I'm trying
I
to
have
say.
to agree with you. I have to agree with you in that. Like, I do think I don't think that the dialogue is terrible. Like, that's personal. Like, I enjoyed what these people were saying. I just didn't take it seriously. I thought it was like
They spoke so
a
weird.
clear representation of something specific. But first of all, I feel that it's modeled to resemble kingdoms. I mean, this is like 1980s Game of Thrones. You know, there's all these kingdoms, and then there's this one king that sits at the throne of thrones, and then he gets killed, and then all the kingdoms are trying to figure out who killed him and all the stuff. And it's a little variation of it, but they related to each other as kingdoms. You know, like that. That's why they use words like parlay, and you know, like they do these things. They do relate to these things. You can't just walk your army through my. You know, like it's very it's very in that sense. The story, I mean, I agree with Nick. Like the inciting incident is just too. It happens at 13 minutes. I thought it was like a perfect moment to start the inciting incident, and I think it does a great way of introducing you to the universe. But these guys could have just simply go to Central Park
They make so
to
many
like
dumb
the heart of Central Park and then hide in the bushes until this morning and then just walk like everybody else. Like there's no need to actually fight all these gangs. They could just hide until it's day, and then during the day nobody's gonna do anything. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe, I don't know.
like what you're gonna be walking in Columbus Circle, and then these gangs are gonna stand fighting. It's just not gonna happen.
Okay, one thing
So,
that's
in
funny
that
to me.
Not in Giuliani.
One thing that cracked me up in this movie, like living in New York, and Nick, you have lived in New York, so I feel like you can appreciate this too. They're in the Bronx, and he goes, "It's got to be 50 to 100 miles to Coney Island."
I know this is.
It's
just
maybe 20 miles.
yes,
Um,
at the most.
Nick,
all night though, which makes sense.
Nick, you once walked from LaGuardia to Bay Ridge.
Yeah,
How long did that take?
that took a long time, dude. That took like 5 or 6 hours.
5 or
something like
6
that.
hours.
So I could.
So,
they could
like,
do
in the time
like
it takes them
10.
to ride the subway back, like, they get back by dawn. They could have walked there.
Yeah.
Like, they could have walked.
Yeah,
but
but
I
you
know
don't
that,
wanna
like, they
walk.
have obstacles.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
I
If-
understand
If
that.
you take the subway today at nighttime, going all the way to Coney Island, all the trains are going local. You know, after 12 o'clock, all the
Oh,
trains
yeah,
are
they're,
local.
like, non-existent. And I'm
Yeah,
sure they were
even
non-existent in the
weekends.
70s.
My cousin took 2 hours just riding the train from Harlem to Bay Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2 hours. And
makes sense.
That's
just
crazy.
during the daytime. It's crazy. So I can understand, like, nighttime everything shuts down, everything's, you know, they're doing
Yeah.
construction.
And it
so-
feels far. They've never left the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're, you know.
I do have to say this is a
I
city.
feel like this would have worked better as a medieval story, actually, and they had swords
It
and
is,
armor
it
and
is,
shit.
it is sort of a medieval story. But, you know, like, you need...
It could have worked in its current form. It just
It
the
could.
execution.
It could.
I like the idea. Like, I agree with John. Like, the overall idea of a gang having to go through gang-ridden New York in a night is a cool idea. Like, if someone pitched me that, I'd be
Yeah.
like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But then seeing the execution, I was like, no, that just wasn't done right. I felt like a lot of characters were written weird, especially women. Women were written very bizarre in this movie. I saw with Coco.
Incredibly
Coco's
bizarre.
like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
This is
Like,
so weird.
first of all, they're always threatening to gang rape women, and then the woman's like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, oh, let me keep following you." It's like he just threatened.
Yeah, she's
like,
crazy. But like, I also felt like they were really polite for gang members.
I think it's sociological.
Like
I
anytime
think-
there's other people on the subway, they're not like harassing them or scaring them. Like he does like kind of grope one of the girls in the subway.
I mean, this.
Well,
movie-
But
the
like
guy on
for
the
the
bench.
kinds of gangs you're picturing, they're super polite to just regular pedestrians.
I have something to say about this movie. I just don't know in which category it goes, but then
Okay.
it's regarding that. It's regarding that, but I don't know. I don't know if we're jumping into.
I
that.
would put it where you think it goes.
It's just that really
Bring it up when
philosophical
you
like
feel.
shit.
Is that direction for you? I don't know.
No, I mean, yeah, it could be direction, but
All right. So how many? Let's do points then. How many points you want to give it for story? Who wants to go? You want to go first, Jose? How many?
I'm gonna give it 3.
3.
It's probably too high.
What about
That's a little too high.
what are you going for, Nick? How many? Are you giving?
I'm going with 2, which is like didn't like it. I'll give it 2 just because okay idea, just not done well.
What about you, Chin?
I give it a 4, and I'll tell you why.
Yes.
The reason why I'm giving this a 4 is because this movie is not supposed to be realistic at all. I think what the movie's about is it's about feelings of New York, and it's about theme, right? So it's everything about this movie is just like really how do you say it? It's very bright. Everything's very all the gangs are kind of crazy. They kind of look like they're wearing all these everything's heightened. The reality is really heightened. So it's not supposed to be taken as a realistic portrayal. It's like a very post-apocalyptic, but not post-apocalyptic New York. If you watch Escape from New York, which is post-apocalyptic New York, they look almost identical in terms of the tone of the cinematography and whatnot. So, I think it has a very simple story, but I don't think that's the point of the movie.
But like, how's the dialogue? Like, do you buy it, or like, is it stylized enough?
It's
that
like
it's
theater,
fine.
It's like
Yeah,
it's very
but like, I
fast.
feel like there's so much empty dialogue in a movie that like hardly has any dialogue.
See, I would bring up Mad Max. Like, Mad Max is an example of a movie that's not supposed to be taken seriously, but I think they did a better job in, like, it's enjoyable and it's just written better. Like, I think some cannot be obviously taken seriously, but it can still be executed better. And I feel like Mad Max is a better example of, like, something that when you watch it, there's all these crazy-looking people, Tina Turner in a Thunderdome, all this crazy stuff. But yet, I just thought they did a better job with that kind of thing. I think this one was, like, really off Broadway, weird, like, I don't know. Like Cats on Crack or something. It's really weird.
I like it.
Okay.
What about you?
So I think I have to split it down the middle. I think I gotta go 3. Just because, like, I do kind of agree with both of them, both Nick and Chin, and I feel like you're kind of in the middle there too, where like, I know it's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's very comic booky. Like, it, the way that they talk to each other is kind of ridiculous. But like, I give it knocks for like ridiculous plot points. So like, they just fall for every possible trap. Like really dumb ones. This was another one that bugged me. They get home to Coney Island and they don't have any weapons. They don't have any homeboys. Like, they just like break the pipe and like smash a bottle. And I was like, where's your guns? Where, like, I thought the whole problem was that you couldn't be packing. And then like the finale was just such a like
Anticlimactic.
like he just
I love that they're being trailed
Like
by
what?
the guys in a car, and they lose them somehow still. Like, they're like literally... No,
they're running as fast as the car. He's going so slow.
They're not even running. They're just walking, like, together for a while, and the car's like 40 feet behind them. And they're like, get
not
close,
stealthy, the
stay, like,
Warriors.
don't lose them. And then it cuts to them running, and I'm like, just, like, run them over. So, I mean, like, come on, man. Get out of the car. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Who trails
I think this is
When I saw the
generational.
girl on the bench, I immediately thought of the movie Mad Max Fury Road when they see the girl in the cage crow and he goes, "That is bait." Like, that's what I thought to myself at that moment. I was like, "That's bait," and then they like immediately fall for it. I'm like,
Well,
you don't
only one
think-
of them. Only
Yeah,
one
and
of them.
he's-
Only the dumb one.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
He was dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I was glad. I mean, they
Well, the
all
guy
deserve it.
recognized.
Like, I don't get me started on deserving. Like it's just like.
All right.
this-
So
this-
what are the final scores?
You-
Did anybody,
you need-
nobody changed their opinion.
No,
It was, yeah, 3.
Shinji
So
coming
I'm-
down.
it's 2 3s, a 2 and a 4.
All right.
Me, I'm 3. You're 3. Nick is 2, and Chin is 4.
All right. So we kind of averaged it out that round.
Yeah, it's like if
All right,
it's like if
direction.
everybody gave it.
So let's
3.
move on to direction. So this will cover cinematography, the shots,
Mhm.
as well as the editing and sort of the pace of the film.
Okay.
And just
I'm gonna save my comment then for Legacy,
I'm gonna say for later.
because I think it's more related to Legacy.
All right.
In the way of direction, I'm gonna hit this one off.
Did he do a good job? How did
Um,
he do? Did he?
I mean, in the
I
ways,
think I know what Nick's gonna say.
in the ways of direction, like it's a movie. You watch this movie, and it is a true child of the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s. Like it was like the shots were like that, and there is a couple of aspects like
It is a timestamp when you look at it,
it's
yeah.
a timestamp. So I feel that that compels me to give it a good score on direction in that sense. It is very cartoonish, the way that they speak, the way that they act. It is very stupid. So, but that's just that's a story. I think that the characters were like well traced, each one of them. They don't have a lot of depth, and even if they have a lot of depth, I don't think it's depth that we should pay attention to. But I feel that it's a true child of that time, and I feel that in that sense, direction is good. Editing and characters in this sense. My favorite thing of this movie, believe it or not, is just the mouth talking to the mic. I think that is so
You like the cutaways to
distinctive
the-
of that time. That you know
Boppers.
that yeah, because like we don't feel it that way right now because people have faces. But back in those times, you could be fan of just a voice, and then all they could imagine was just the mouth. Like I don't know, like she is the voice. She's like a muse or something. And I felt that she was pretty cool on the whole.
I have to back up real quick because I did a terrible job introducing the movie after all that. So the movie came out in 1979. It was directed by Walter Hill, so that's who we're judging right now. The screenplay was by Walter Hill Walter Hill, sorry. The screenplay was by him and a guy named David Shaber. And it stars Michael Beck as Swan, James Remar as Ajax, the guy who got arrested, and Deborah Van Valkenburg, the girl with the really poor choices, poor life decisions.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, she can live how she wants to live.
I know, but I mean, like they all live under poor choice decisions. Like this is like gang members and shit. Like it's like
What do these gangs do?
Yeah.
It's like they just.
How do they make money? Do they deal drugs?
I
Like,
don't know. This is such a bad example
Everything
for
moving
everything.
in and out. All we know is this stuff
They
moves.
steal. We just gotta find what's worth stealing. It's like, I love the values in this movie.
The rogues are the worst.
He offends him.
I like him in the beginning when he shoots him. He does look genuinely crazy.
This movie
But after
offends
that,
me
it's all
in so
downhill.
many levels. But anyway,
Anyway, that's performance. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
What do you think of the direction, Nick?
I think I'd give it like a 3, like just split down the middle. Nothing was popped out as great. The cinematography didn't, there was a couple of well-composed shots that I remember, but I didn't like the lighting for the most part. It was cool to see New York City. That was like one of the coolest parts, but it didn't really stand out. Editing, I didn't think stood out at all. There was actually some poor choices in it. Sometimes I thought,
You didn't like transitions?
no, yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge person into swipes, first of all, or stuff like that. But just other things, like how certain things were cut in the beginning. A lot of, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of nothing I thought stood out crazy well. And then just directing overall, I think the guy, it was not my cup of tea. I would have done it way different. So, but I would just get it down the middle.
I give it points for shooting on location.
Yeah.
They had to deal with like actual gangs interfering with the set.
I'm sure actually scary ones.
Yeah, they had to pay off one of the gangs to be extras in the film just so that they would let them shoot on their turf. Because like it had a lot of word of mouth before it went into production, and like people were, there was some amount of buzz about it. People knew about it, and like gang members had mixed feelings about it. Like they had to be careful when they went to Coney Island because I forget what the name of the gang is. But like they couldn't leave set and security because they didn't want to see colors on like their turf. So they would have to like change out of. They couldn't wander off in costume or whatnot.
Wow.
So like I give them points for location. Movie like you don't. I mean I guess it's more common in movies and TV or whatever. But even in movies, you see a lot of sets. And this movie has like no sets almost, like maybe the bathroom scene, but it feels pretty practical. And they shot it all at night. So like, that's kind of tough. I feel like they made the decision. Apparently the DP made the decision to like have it rainstorm so that they could wet the streets for all the shots.
They used to have bathrooms on subways back then. It's like, who would use that?
Yeah.
Wait, in subway stations, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they still
those?
have them.
Really? I've never
Yeah,
seen
they're
one.
like hidden.
It's just still, who would use them?
Yeah, like
Still, just truly. I mean, unless it's just like with Will Smith trying to hide his kid
There you
from
go, yeah.
people.
yeah.
That's who you'll find.
I
in
did
there.
like the cutaways to the voice. I don't know.
You what?
I agree with
You
you.
like
I
the
like
voice?
the cutaways to the voice and the record. Those were kind of
I
fun
love her.
transitions.
I love
They were
her.
actually like one of the highlights of the movie for me. I guess this is where Chin, I want to hear kind of your starting thoughts before
Sure.
I spin off.
I mean, I like the swipes and all that. I think the movie for me, it's they set the tone very early on. With the train and the quick cuts and the text flying in your face. So I know the direction they were going with really quickly, and
Yeah.
I know that it
That's
was
just something.
really hyper realistic, and I really enjoyed it. Especially the fight scenes. They cut slow motion with transitions with the train actually just flying through. Between cuts, they actually used the train, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really creative. I thought
Yeah,
that
when they
was-
have the kiss with the train going by, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I
Well
like
timed, or
the
just
energy,
Yeah.
with the editing in it. Actually, one scene I had to go back and to take a look again was the scene where they were running down the subway track, and the train kind of followed them, and I was like, oh, was that a cut? Or did the train really follow them? So I went back and it was actually cut. I thought that was okay, that was really cool. So stuff like that I really enjoyed.
Okay.
And the cinematography I thought was really cool. I mean, I like the different colors, and it's so bright. It's so different from everything.
Yeah, it's a very right movie for being a night.
I liked the
movie.
cinematography for some of it. I
You
really
know what was
liked.
my favorite shot?
What's that?
The boss, the shot that they show 8 times where it's just the boss looking like this, and then a dude comes like a
With his
credit
sunglasses?
Oh,
person,
this
just
is-
tells them info and then leaves. It's like, what is? He just sits there all day.
With the sunglasses. They did a good job of like what they put in his sunglasses.
Yes.
Like there is attention to detail going
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
here.
yeah. There's a like. I mean, it has a lot of like memorable like characters that do one single
I
thing.
think my favorite shot was the
Yeah.
opening shots of Coney Island at night.
Those are
the like
good.
soft
They're
out of focus shots. Like I was like,
Yeah.
that was kind of an inspired decision, just like nice to put in. Yeah, the opening sequence.
What
is
number?
good.
What number is Chin giving it? What are you giving it, Chin?
Well, before you
I thought
throw
you
out
were
a
gonna
number-
go into
Sorry,
the
before you
numbers.
throw out a number, I just want to say that like I suppose choreography and like action falls under direction.
Yeah.
Like I would say. So like, what did you guys think of the action? Like they're the warriors, right? There's fighting in the movie.
I think this movie, it's like
Does it deliver on a carnage front?
No,
Like,
no,
right?
no, not at all, not at all. Like this movie leaves you like these people don't even hurt each other. They hit each other like not to really kill each other. Like this feels like they feel so stagey. Because of that, like these people, like it was way less gory than it would actually happen, and it was only to keep it like a little at bay because it's just like they're very hyper real with certain things, and then with other things, it's like kids fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they hurt each other, but they don't really hurt each other.
Yeah, they would get their ass kicked by the Clockwork Orange gang.
Yeah.
Any one of those gangs would get their ass.
Oh,
kicked
there was
by
like
them.
and
Yeah.
rape.
There's no
It's like it's just
comparison.
like
Those are
Yeah.
it's crazy.
This movie like wants all the gangs to be like Clockwork Orange,
Mm-hmm.
but they wanted some studio backing, so they couldn't do it.
yeah.
I don't know. Even Stanley Kubrick probably couldn't get away with that movie.
No,
So yeah, I kind of feel like it doesn't go far enough, and that the action fails to deliver. Like it just kind of like every time they did fight, I was like, oh, the stakes are really low. You know what I mean? Like getting arrested is the worst thing that happens to anybody. I mean, a couple people get murdered. Why is there one gun? It's like Excalibur. He has freaking. I have Excalibur that can. Or I have the only bow and arrow. Like there's all these gangs, and they use like wooden sticks and like.
Oh, and you get this.
It's right. Like where were the guns that were alluded to at the beginning of the movie?
Well,
and then it's only the one.
But nobody was packing. I mean, I understand that they went back to their turfs.
Once they start getting back to their turfs.
Like the guys in the bus, that are gonna catch him at the beginning, is like, why nobody left that bus and go for, like, the bus just kept driving. It's like what, and then they get out. Like it's like these guys could have it caught like so many times. It's just like, it's good. And then why are women portrayed as the worst shooters in history? Like this.
That killed me because I was like, they all have knives, they all have guns. No one got hurt. Someone got sliced, but I was like, come on. I was like, what a way to make women look like it was like just point and shoot. Like she's just like,
and I don't know why they have to lure them and then kind of like almost like do them before they can just put them through the door and then just shoot them in the back. Like it's just like they're just basically saying this is such a really bad gang, or like maybe they like it.
Another thing I have to call out, and I suppose this actually would have gone under script, but is at the end of the movie when she's like, I've proved I can handle myself. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You just like huddled on the floor in the bathroom and yelled, kill him, kill him, kill him.
Yeah.
And she's a shit starter. Like she's the one who almost gets like
she's a shit starter.
Oh my God. She's
With
like,
orphans.
I do like
orphans are like it. They got rid of her.
I do like the line. I did like the line when she goes like, I like to travel. And he goes like, where the hell had you been? And she goes like, nowhere, but I know I like it. She's like, it's like, don't give me shit about this. Like let's go travel. And go like, well, that's a good answer. I give it a 4. You know why I give it a 4?
Yeah.
You know why I give it a 4? It's because I love the shots of the voice. I love the shots of the guy with the glasses just being the super boss that only like he walks like a robot and he just stops and turns to people. It's like that's all the direction. I mean, I like what he did with these people to make them like to look like a badass, but also like a cartoonish kind of badass.
It's very cartoony.
And everything in the subway, like this whole movie, as you say, was shot in New York. It shows New York. Like if you know New York, you know the distance between one place and another. It's more relevant for people who know New York, I feel. But also the subway, it's like anywhere they would go, it will always seem like it's a maze. Everything they will go, you would have no idea of what the geography is. It's like you're lost in this. Like every time they went in the subway, you had no idea where you are. You just tunnels and tunnels and tunnels. It's like the mines of Moria or something. And I feel that he did a good job making the way back seem like a maze, seem like a really like I don't know what direction to go. And then me as the spectator, even when I have been in New York and I have a certain sense of where 96th Street is and then where Union Square is, still these people will take roads and I'll be like, I have no idea where I am. I have like the maze sensation was achieved. And I feel that that's all direction that has to be like. I don't think this movie is trying to be more than what it is. Except, like, I think they were so surprised of the impact of this movie as we are.
You give it a 4.
Which actually speaks very bad about society. But anyway.
I think... All right. I think I agree with you. I think I give it a 4 also. Just because I can't give it a 5.
No.
Because there's like I think it knows what it is. It's a silly movie. It's bold decisions, in a lot of departments. But I feel like if it were like Tim Burton, he would have gone further with the style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they were somewhat hamstringed by shooting on location and, like, not being able to really alter your environment. But it would have been nice to have it be, like, even worse than it is. You know what I mean?
You know
There's a lot of empty streets and just kind of not that dirty.
Yeah.
Like, he could have pushed it further into ridiculous territory and, like, made it more tense.
You know,
Yeah.
like what you're saying to me sounds as, and I agree with you. I just didn't find the words before. It feels like it's a movie that is trying to sell you into this revelry, but it auto censors itself.
Yeah, it's just a
It's
little.
like it just censors itself, and it's like
So
you're
I think it's
selling
lacking
the
a
opposite.
punch, but I do think there's attention to detail. There's a lot of big group shots, so and they're handled pretty well.
Yeah.
So I give props for that. There's a lot of well-timed group shots in terms of like them chasing each other through the subway stations and just having these, like they're well rehearsed and choreographed, to all be shot on location at night. So
Yeah.
I think like he made do with the restraints pretty well and like highlighted to some degree, but like could have done better. So I think it deserves a 4.
Gotcha.
I don't know. What about
Chin.
you guys? You got scores for it, Nick?
Nick gave it 3.
What's your?
Yeah, I gave it a
3.
3.
Yep.
I think I'm being
You're
generous.
sticking with that? You're being generous.
Oh yeah, I mean,
right.
I understand
You disagree
that
with
the
us.
guy knew what he was doing and he achieved his goal at it, but that to me, I can't give it. It's like if you're
Your
going to
goal
make me a
will
turd
know.
sandwich, and then you achieved your goal and you made a turd sandwich and I eat it. I'm not going to give you like, hey, you achieved your goal.
I
You
don't
did
think
this.
his goal is a turd sandwich.
Oh
Oh my god.
god, this is
I'm
great.
saying like
That's
I
so
to me,
harsh.
It doesn't
I'm
sway
not
me
saying
that he achieved
Not my
what he
words.
wanted or he knew what he was doing. What he wanted is what I don't like.
Exactly. It's like it's just that you don't agree with his opinion.
But yeah, I
with his
feel like what he
taste.
wanted. Yeah, it's just a kind of
That's-
a matter of taste.
Yeah.
Chin, what's your final score?
I give it a 4. Also,
I thought Sheen was gonna give me like a -2 and try to
he
take
got-
points out of it.
Yeah,
Trying to
I-
steal points from other people.
Any final comments about that?
I think, like I said before, I think the movie is, it's about theme. It's about, the divisions of New York, and it's a movie about New York for New Yorkers, I think, because, the way they map things out, you kind of follow along. And you're like, oh yeah, I know these different stations. I know where they're going. If I didn't live in New York, I wouldn't care less. I'm like, why? Who cares about Union Square? Why is he even mentioning Union Square?
It's middle point.
But
It's
I
like,
think the one moment in the movie that I liked a lot was when they were sitting in the subway and they were looking at those prom couples.
The prom date.
Yeah, the prom dates, and you just tell no matter which gang they're in, they'll never. It's the difference between different parts of New York and class. Different class. And she tried to clean herself up, try to move her hair, and he's like, "Don't do that."
Yeah, don't bother.
You are who you are. You'll never be in that class, so don't even try to hide that fact. So, thematic stuff like that, I really enjoyed.
All right.
Yeah.
there's an interesting social commentary there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so open to interpretation.
You found something deep.
But
You found
yeah,
something deep in it.
but it's like, and it comes out of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
just like, and
I think
the
that's worthy
last
of
statement.
points. Is like if you
Yeah.
found it, compelling. So let's talk about performance. How the actors do.
Let's skip this one.
Anybody? Let's skip this one. Jose, you got some, or Nick, you got something to say?
The actors, I don't think were that. Again, it was really, really stagey, really, really, a little over the top. Some of it was, I thought the guy who was probably my favorite, who again was really over the top of the stagey, but was the bad guy from the Rogues, who kind of looks like Sean Penn. I forget his name,
Yeah.
Lester or something.
Yeah.
He has a weird name, but anyway, he was good. He improvised that whole, come out and play with the bottles part.
Yeah.
Anytime, I wish there was more of him, to be honest, because like when we were seeing him, I was like, okay, this is a little bit more interesting. A lot of the Warriors really just kind of like
Yes.
cold and like just not really. I was not into any of them. I can't think of which Warrior I thought was the best because I didn't find any of them interesting, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the performances were they're okay.
Not a fan.
Not a fan again.
How was the chemistry? How's the chemistry?
The chemistry, I feel like, between the Warriors, I guess there was probably good chemistry. It felt like it was just a bunch of young guys on set who were probably getting along and kind of going with the whole high of the film or whatever. I felt like there was some chemistry. I didn't feel like there was a lot of chemistry between the Swan and what's her name. I didn't really feel that. It felt a little more energy coming from her towards him. I don't know. I didn't think he was a great actor, that guy. I thought she was slightly better, but yeah. I'm kind of just like I give it a 2. Let me just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Alright.
like it.
Chin.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you give it a 2 too.
I give it a 2 also. I mean, they're all wooden, you know. They're all wooden, except for the guy with the bottles. I mean, he was just really creepy. And
Yeah.
I watched it with my girlfriend, and she couldn't stand the sound of the bottles, which is, you know,
Which is the point.
I thought you were gonna say like I wish you were my girlfriend. Now she's not my girlfriend anymore. She hated me.
You've made this. You've made that joke on this show before.
Because it happens to good people like
happens.
Chin. He was
Alright.
like, look at this movie, and then she goes like, I hate you. She just leaves and slaps him. I give it a 2 too.
Also,
Most-
I give it a
That
2.
was-
I think it's like the Chins like they're wooden. I mean, and I give it a 2 because the thing that saves this movie
Give
for
it
me
2 points.
it's the guy, of course, with the bottles, the voice. I like what she did and the way that she spoke. Like it's like definitely performance. It's small, but like there's people who won Academy Awards for just one scene. So I think this woman did good. And I actually like Cyrus. I like the "Can you dig it?" Like I just like I don't know. I dig it, man. I do dig it. like what? But the main warrior, this guy was like so much. Like all of them were just like the embodiment of one single sensation or one single emotions. Like one of them is the stupid one who's always going for that. The other one is like the love for good, whatever, and then he never breaks love for good. And then it's like those faces that he makes. I go like, one thing staging, another thing is what you were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I give it a 2 because these 2 characters I did enjoy. And well, the guy with the glasses was just magnificent. He's just like that's just standing there. You stand there.
So okay, you give 2 points for 2 actors. That's how you're doing it.
There are 2 things.
I'm gonna give it a single point
1 point.
for. You mentioned them both. For Cyrus.
Wait for the plane.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to cover my mic.
No, I see. I saw you,
Sorry.
but yeah, let's wait for the plane.
All right, it's gone.
Start from the beginning.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it 1 point.
1.
Because I liked Cyrus. You mentioned both the ones I liked, and I liked the black guy with
voice.
glasses.
Oh.
The voice, I mean, I don't not. It could have been like that's anyone.
Voice
I don't know.
requires acting.
I don't know.
Nick
Was
laughed.
it okay? It was fine. It didn't offend me or nothing.
Gotcha.
But I don't know.
Can I mention something now that we're like in this topic?
No Scarlett Johansson.
No. Yes, definitely not Scarlett Johansson. This movie feels that it's a movie.
I like the voice as a concept.
That-
Performance was kind of take it or leave it for me.
This movie, I have no beef in this movie about racial stereotyping or racism.
We'll
or
get
any-
to that.
These movies.
We'll get to
so,
that. Save it.
Okay.
Because that's for the next category.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, so I'm gonna give it 1.
Eins.
All right. I think you guys are generous with your 2 points.
I think I was a little generous.
You can give 0 points. You don't have to give any points.
know.
I just want to make.
Ching
that
didn't
known.
know that. That was like I want to give 0
It's
points.
not. Yeah, it's not. You don't have to pick 1
You know,
point.
bring me back to a 1. Sold me on the
Did I sell you on it?
You know,
Oh, that's the first. That's the first.
There you go. You can reconsider.
All right, cool.
You will
He was open-minded. So we'll go to the legacy. How does this whole movie hold up? Like, how does it compare
I have so
to movies
much.
today? How
I
does
have
it? So I think you were starting on this concept when you talked about race relations.
so you
Because I
got-
definitely want to hit on this.
Oh God! I mean, I have so many things to say.
Just say pick
I'll
up
try
one-
to make them. I'll try to make them.
Your
like,
catchphrase, I have so many things to
To
say,
say.
drives me crazy.
What was I? What was I?
Okay, I'm going to give it to Chin.
Yeah, give it to Ching. Give it to Ching.
What do you think?
thought I
How
lost
does
my
this
train.
movie hold up? Like, in terms of like how you would give it points is like, I don't know, like, does it carry resonance? Has it affected other movies that have come after? Like, would it hold up today? Things like this.
I don't think it'll hold it today. The thing about this movie for me was that before I've seen this, it's a cult film, right?
Yeah.
Before I've seen this movie, I've heard, do you dig it? The big line. So when I played this movie for the first time, I was just waiting for that moment. I knew it was gonna come, and it came, and I was like, okay, great, wonderful.
I only knew about like Roller Skate Gang and Warriors. That's really all I
Is this
knew.
the first time you watched this movie?
This is the first time I've seen this movie.
Oh wow! Oh,
we
this
didn't
is
start in the
great.
usual way.
Oh, this is great.
So yeah, it was the first time watch for me.
I don't think people would hold it to a high degree today if it came out today, because I think people this movies are so much more realistic now than they were in the
yes.
70s.
Yes.
And that's you're talking about like 70s realistic movies.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this
But-
concept has been done better from around the same era. Like we mentioned, Escape from New York. I think that's a better version of this movie. So I kind of agree. Like I don't know that there's like a lot of lore around the film in terms of like how gangs reacted to this movie, and like in New York in particular, like if two gangs went to the same theater, there would be like fights at the theater, so they had to like put extra security around it.
This movie's mine.
The movie was profitable, despite having to like pull it from theaters early. So it kind of like it hit on a topic that people wanted to see. They had they had $6 million budget, so like a little more than it's worth now, but not a huge budget to work with.
Yeah.
The race thing is interesting because the director originally wanted all black and Latino members for the gangs, and the studio talked him into putting white people in it. And
Main
there's
characters.
and there's a lot of white people in it. So it is an example, of whitewashing in a movie by a studio, something that continues to this very day. But at the same time, I also feel like if they had made the gangs all black and Latino, they'd be blaming all the crime in New York on the black and Latino. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, or like a catch-22, if you will. I think either like one is like more representative of the areas they're in, like black and Latino, but like to say that like all the gangs are just black and Latino is racist, right? And like they need to at least run into some. I think there should be white
Irish
gangs. You know what I mean? Like the baseball gang was fine, and like if that was the only white gang, I'd be fine with it. I think it would have been cooler. Like I like that they did have somewhat of a mixed gang, but like to give the two leaders to the two white dudes, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of gets docked points for that, and just for putting itself in that situation. And they decided to go comic booky and like, just really bedazzle all the gangs as a result of not wanting to make it controversial.
In that specific subject of what you're saying, they whitewash it, and like at least there was a gang that was all the two leaders were white. I feel that like and this is the only reason why I don't like these kind of discussions about this sense, is because I feel that there is no way you can determine a movie and put races without somebody having something negative. Because if
Because you're making a statement regardless, right?
Yeah,
you can't avoid making a statement, but that's making movies.
if you make the gang
if you don't want to make a statement, Jose, this is what I say.
Yeah,
if you don't want to make a statement, don't make a movie.
Exactly. It's like
so you put yourself in that situation just by the fact that you've put out this product to the public, and I think it bears scrutiny because you are giving it to the public. And if you're just going to make this material, you found this book and you really want to make this material, how you handle it is on you. I think.
You can't. There's no way. If the gang
then you
leaders-
don't make it.
If the gang leaders
You know what
are
I'm
white,
saying? Like they decided to make it, so then you have a responsibility to do it as well as you can.
See, if the gang leaders are white, then why is white people just dominating it? If the one gang leader is white and the other one is black, then who's gonna be the bad guy, the white guy or the black guy? And then if the black guy is bad, then it's because he's black. If the white guy is bad, then
They
it's because
are
because
talking
he's the man.
neighborhoods, but
It's-
we are talking neighborhoods where there would be token white people as opposed to leading.
There is no.
Does that
way.
make sense?
There is no
Because it's based on New York.
I know.
Like, there's probably a reason
And
they didn't
Cyrus-
want these.
Cyrus
people
was
on their
like
turf.
black and Latino. I don't even know what Cyrus was. It was like in between black and Latino. That's accurate with New York. That's very accurate with New York.
Cyrus
and I
was
felt
great,
like,
and he was one of the things I liked.
yeah, exactly. It's like, but these movies, like, there's no
So
way.
I want to hear. I wanna hear
Racist is impossible
I want
to
to hear
deal.
from someone else. Chin,
Everybody wants to be offended by it.
what are you offended? Do you want to be offended by this movie?
I'm not offended by this movie.
Yeah, I think I don't think they did the
I
worst
mean,
thing.
they have an Asian gang in it, for like 2 frames of film.
There was an Asian.
The Asian gang, don't they kill the leader of the Warriors? Because he gets karate kicked. Hardcore. He's like, and that's the move that takes him down after he did like the elbow. I started to have hope at that fight scene, and then it quickly died.
Died so quickly.
No, I mean, New York's a diverse place. So when I watched it, the orphans were kind of strange. I didn't know where they're from, their background.
They were just like weird people.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just
just
like,
like
yeah, they were the weird guys, the actual orphans.
Stewards, yeah,
So
Yeah.
which gang would you be, Chin?
the orphans.
You mean the orphans? Because at least it's just jeans and t-shirt.
See, Chin knows. He goes. He knows. He
Yeah.
knows what he's doing.
Nick, what do you think of the legacy of the film and all this nonsense we've been
I
talking
don't think
about?
it's going to hold up well, really. I mean, I don't think it does hold up well. I don't think it, it's one of those cult movies where, like, I'm kind of always half and half with cult movies. I'll see half of them and I'm like, oh, I get why it's cult and I really dig it. Like Clue or something like that is one of my favorite movies. Like some cult movies, I'll just be like, I get why. And then this kind of falls into that group where I'm like, I don't really get why. Like, it's just, to me, not that, it's just not that good. And I was like, I'm so curious the whole time I was watching.
It doesn't live up to the hype.
Doesn't live up to the hype for me. Like, I didn't find much to anything that I really thought was enjoyable. I was bored a lot of it, to be honest. I was like, man, the action, like, I've seen way better action sequences in the 70s. I mean,
I know.
like Jackie Chan films from the 70s, like Drunken Master and stuff. Those are awesome. Get a choreographer or something. So yeah, I don't know. I just I thought that was a little weird. And as far as
How many points do you want to throw at it? I'm sorry, I didn't mean
I
to cut
was
you off.
not offended.
You were not
I was
offended.
offended as a filmmaker, but not as
Not by race.
ethnic wise. No.
Gotcha. Yeah. So points. How many points do you give it?
1. To be honest, yeah, 1. I don't think it's.
You don't think
You
it?
know what? 2. I'll
it's-
give it 2 because you know what? I think some of the lines like "Come out and play" and "Can you dig it" will last for a long time, and I do think the image, like the name of the movie with that text and the red spray paint. I think there's things that will go on for so long. But yeah, so I would just give it a 2.
Okay.
The market generation.
What about you?
I want to give it. This is the point. I want to give it a 4.
But
Because for me it holds, but I'm gonna give it a 3 because I feel that what it holds should not be held. This is my
Should
point.
not be held?
This held, yes.
you're almost.
This
so
is
close.
this is my point of view with respect to that. I feel that it holds because it's not about the gangster, but it's about a feeling that people have for anarchy and stick it into the man. And I think that that's timeless. I think that it doesn't matter where in history you are. There's always going to be the movie that speaks about the people who just want to be rebels and stick it to. So it's generational, but it's also young. I mean, glad, of course. I mean, I was alive in like around those times, and I come in contact with people who lived that time and then have like give me a little of that. But the message that anarchy is the solution against the man, I feel is a skewed message. And to me, the fact that this is a cult classic because most people see it and relate to it speaks poorly of humankind.
Okay. So 3.
Yes.
Um,
I'm sorry. It's just like study, like
it's your
make
Sure,
laws,
opinion, do what you want.
like do democratic participation. Don't start a gang and then stick it to the man by anarchy. Like if we live in a world of anarchy, I want to see everybody who wants that and then see them in the street and go like, "Do you like this shit? Because this is exactly what you wanted." Fuck you. Like,
all right. Chin, what do you give it?
I give it 3 too. I think this is one of those. It's a cult movie. It's one of those movies where they will show it in midnight showings, and if the crowd is good, I would probably enjoy it.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have that moral lesson. I mean,
doesn't.
Zero moral lesson. Not that movie should. I mean, I think the movie is, for me, is about, the style of it.
Yeah.
Because it's very 70s. It's very New York.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate that. It's the feeling that comes through from that. So I give it 3.
Cool.
You know what? Yeah,
I'm torn. I'm a little torn right now between 2 and 3 because I give it points for being a timestamp. It's really cool to look at 1979 New York and like all the graffiti and some of the weird ads and like just see what the city looked like. It's a trip through time in some respects.
Yes.
So I definitely give it points for that. And some of the things that Nick mentioned, like the iconography of the title, of sort of the voice and the warriors, like people really remembered that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were just grasping at straws, but it has stuck. But I think other than that, the movie is really slowly paced, and I think that's its biggest mark against it. Is just that like I could forgive all the ridiculousness of the movie if it were well paced. Because this is a movie that's asking to be like adrenaline and like we're running for our lives and we're fighting for our lives and like it's just so relaxed. And they're just hanging out and they're just walking down the street. And like I don't know, for me
Like
it just
kids.
like it didn't draw emotion out of me.
Gotcha.
I didn't feel empathy for the characters. And so like I feel like on those grounds it hasn't aged well. Because so many movies have done that and have shown how that can be done, and like before and after. But so I think 2. I think I've talked myself into 2.
I wanna say something about something that Shane said about
Yeah.
about these characters. And it is that there are movies that make the protagonist, the person that you need to empathize with, somebody who, by all intents and purposes, is not a good person. So these movies, what they do is that they try to present their point of view and go like, this person might be this, but look at his story, look at his background. He tries to humanize it. This movie pretends you to empathize with people that have no regret about being criminals. They have that which sole code of conduct is like, yeah, I'm gonna rape, yeah, I'm gonna steal, yeah, we're gonna conquer the entire city, whatever. And it just supports them as the characters that you need to empathize. And I think that message is terrible.
Okay. So you still give it 3 points?
Yes. I mean, still 3 points because of the holding factor. I was like, but
Okay.
Ching
Let's move on.
mentioned
Let's
that.
move on if you're not going to add anything new. So this is the final category.
Oh, we have one more.
Yeah, we still have production value, if we're calling it. So this is kind of everything we haven't covered yet.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to throw music in there. We're going to throw costume in there. We're going to throw sort of,
city,
how well they
locations
used the
and-
money they had, essentially.
I give it a 5. I love the production value. I love the production values in this movie. It
You
looks
love
like
the
it's like.
production value in this
I
movie?
mean,
You
it's
like the costumes?
like I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, costume.
I love,
Can we talk costume?
The
We have,
cartoonish
like, not
aspect of
got-
it. I love the cartoonish aspect of
Nick,
it.
tell me about the
Cemetery.
I would give it a 0 if it wasn't for the music. I'm giving it a 2 because I thought that the music was actually maybe the best part of the movie. It had some decent music and stuff, especially in the beginning. But I hated whoever was the costume designer. I hated it, man. I thought it was so stupid. Like when I see the people dressed in baseball outfits and like people dressed, like I just.
What was
thought it
the most
so-
ridiculous gang? Can I hear from everybody? What's the most ridiculous one?
Oh
that
my
you
God, I don't
that
know.
you like just like what's the top?
Oh, I gotta think. I don't know.
Say
were
the
talking
women
about-
gang.
Chin, you got one?
Say the women.
Is there? Can you pick one most ridiculous gang?
Maybe the baseball one. I mean, maybe them. I guess they'd have.
Chin, what about you?
I have to watch again though.
The Orphans.
The orphans are the most ridiculous. Yeah,
I mean, you know what? They're the most realistic. They're just some dirty dudes. Everyone else was.
there is maybe you missed it. There's a gang of mimes.
Yes. Oh, that.
There's a gang of mimes.
That was so.
I have
stupid,
to bring it up. There's not only dual face painted baseball players, but there's mimes in this. I was
And
like,
they had,
what are
they
they
had a gang
doing
of,
here?
Like dudes wearing a French beret with just the black and
And
white shirt.
my face, and like, oh my god. I was like, what are they doing here?
I loved it. I mean, I
And
thought
but the orphans were so bad of a gang.
it's just a green T-shirt.
That like they didn't get invited to the party. The mimes got invited to the party. 9 of them. They brought 9 mimes to this party, and the orphans got left behind.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
That's why the girl left that game. They were so pitiful.
Yeah, man. Can I just say about that girl? I meant to bring this up earlier in performance, but like, not that it's part of her performance, but there are certain shots where she looks exactly like Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh, you know who I thought she looked like? Rosario Dawson.
She looks like, yeah.
I
see
it's
Rosario
depending on
Dawson
her
more
face.
than
But
Michelle.
there's a couple of shots where she's like given the
Yeah.
low eyebrow where she looks very. But yeah, I can totally Rosario Dawson.
I didn't think there was one gang that was imposing. Like that's the thing that I thought was so bizarre. Like there was not
even
one
the
person
rogues.
who
Like,
I thought maybe I could like have a chance of getting into a fight with. Like there was no one where I was like, oh wow, that guy's scary. He kicked my ass. Like no one in the movie was scary really, or like.
but you
and
know
I
what?
think
Like
even-
the Warriors were not scary either.
No, they
And
weren't
to
at
like,
all. None.
I was like, they're always like, we could take them. I'm like, could you?
Oh, yeah,
Could you,
it's-
Warriors?
I
She's
I
also
think they
pretty.
could have made like weird different gangs, but still, like I mean, like looking for example, Akira, you have a gang called the Clowns, but those are some scary looking dudes. I mean, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to see them necessarily in a street. But like in this movie, it was like a funny montage in the beginning. It was literally just me and Coco just laughing one after. We were like, "Wow, these guys look like idiots. These are the overall guys. They look like idiots." Like,
Yeah, the gangs are silly.
The gangs are silly.
I was like, why is priority 1 not to get weapons? Like they just didn't care about weapons.
followed the
They
rules,
threw
by
them
the way.
away. What?
Like how everyone followed the rules in the beginning. Like 20,000 gang members, you get to show up, and all of them are nice people to where they're not going to be. Only one person broke the rule and packed heat.
Yeah.
I thought that was so. It was like, wow, you got the 20,000 most honest gang members. Like, come on. Like
It's the
every-
70s.
All right, but that's not really production
It was
value.
the 70s.
That was more story. That was a story, Greg.
Look, this movie.
Um,
This movie looks like it's made with a bunch of Japanese teenagers that love anime and rock and roll, and then they just like dress like this is what they are. This is what they are. They are like like this is the punk rock Japanese teenager gang.
I think I mentioned it earlier that they could have made the city a little more gritty and dirty.
Totally.
Like, you watch a movie like 28 Days Later, and there's just like trash everywhere, and debris in the wind and whatnot. And I feel like they could have just done more of that to make the environment feel more dangerous and more alive, and like, give them other cars behind, and like then you have like,
yeah.
I just think they could have made it a little more dystopian looking, and they went with these really cartoony costumes, and like the costumes have to do all the work for the production value. Like everything else is just shooting on the streets, which is, kind of a feat in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think production value is terrible, and I do like the music. I agree with Nick. The opening sequence is really good, and the music's a big part of that. And then the interludes,
Mm-hmm.
where they cut to the voice and picking songs to say things to them. Yeah, so like that was good. I don't know. Points wise, I'm kind of in the middle.
You're
I
gonna
think
go.
3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah, I think I give it 3.
I'm sticking with 5.
You're
I
getting 5.
like how
Stick
this
on 5.
I like how this movie
What
this
about
movie
you?
presents itself.
What are you, Nick?
I said 2.
You said 2. And Chin,
I give it a 5. I agree with Jose.
you agree with Jose? You like
yeah,
the costumes?
I do. It's cartoony.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's a choice.
I don't know,
I enjoy watching it.
It's really a unique film.
Yeah.
There's no other film like that.
And there's a lot of costume work, so kind of have to give props to the props department on just like churning out they do manage to get a lot of people in a lot of different costumes in this movie. So more than most movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, five's okay. So I relate to that. All right, I'm gonna tally up.
He's gonna do some
scores.
math right now, so we
Yeah.
can talk about something else. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the? While he's doing the math, what do you think about the fact that like the moment that they escape from this place and they start their way back, then their meeting is as a cemetery. Like like that gotta mean something.
All right.
That gotta be something about either some of them are gonna die or it gotta mean something like, death is on your future. Death is where you're starting. Death is what you should be. I mean, do you think there's directorial stuff on that, or was just
Sure,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's a cool cemetery? What do you think, Nick?
I think it was probably, yeah. I think you hit it. It must have been something, like foreshadowing some kind of omen. What's to come throughout the film. I think a piece of it too was just to get a good spooky location, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it was the brightest cemetery ever. What do you think, James?
Are you ready? Can I interrupt?
Oh yeah. What is the score of this movie?
All right, give me that.
So curious. Let's see.
All right. Jose gave it a total of 17 points. 3 for script, 4 for direction, 2 performance, 3 legacy, 5 production. So 17 total points from Jose. Nick gave it 10 total points. Out of 25, he gave it 10. Which I feel like is pretty on par with your opinion of the film. I gave it 13, so I split the difference between them. And Chin gave it the highest score of 18. And the movie makes a whopping of 58 total.
Oh wow.
That is not bad. That would be
So
like
it is the highest rated Movie Club Collective film to date. It is also consequently the lowest.
On Rotten Tomatoes, that would not be fresh.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
That
fresh
would
on
not be
Tomatoes. It's going to be interesting to see how movies come out in terms of the scoring because
Yeah.
I think it gets exponentially harder to hit like as you get closer to 100. So this is pretty close to just like because if it's all threes is average, then it's pretty close to just.
I'm
like
curious
an
about
average.
one
Slightly
thing.
above average is what we gave it.
I'm curious about one thing, and I'm gonna make like a parenthesis just in case you want to cut this out. You can cut it out. But like, how old are you, Chin?
What was that?
How old are you?
I am 34.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
The older you
That's
get, the
exactly-
higher the score.
Yeah, it's like Chin and I like it might have I'm 35, so I think I relate to this movie in a different way, probably because of the age that I am.
My
and
dad
because I
really likes this movie and was excited for me to see it.
And you two are,
and
then
he's
you two are
30 years older
at
than I
least
am.
one decade, or like you two are late
At least
80s.
a decade.
It's like
half a decade.
half a decade. Like what? You're
How
like,
old? I'm 29. He's 30.
well,
Not
yeah.
24.
Well,
Yeah, come on now.
maybe. Yeah,
I
you're
just
right.
look
You're
24,
right. You're right.
that's
But you're
all.
young. You're a young lad. You're a young
He's
lad.
got like old man syndrome where he's
I know.
not really old.
I know.
But he
I mean, I
thinks
just
he's
feel
old.
like it's. I feel
All
that
right,
that's
so
the difference.
we've gone on a while now, somewhere in the vicinity of an hour. So
Yes.
I think that was fun. I think that was fun. What do you guys?
And I think those numbers are accurate. I think those numbers are
I
going
think
to
that's a
reflect
good.
well.
Yeah, I think it's a split movie. I think that's kind of what it says, and I think that's
All right, so that is the first Movie Club Collective score.
And just realizing that we always will need 4 people to do these.
Yeah, it's gonna.
you
I
have
was
to do a
trying to
weird-
think of like how to do the math
Higher
for 3
scores.
people. If you
That
have
is
a bonus round or
33,
something.
33 points.
33. No one can, no
Yeah, exactly.
What if it gets to 99? You just give him.
You just give it the extra
Yeah.
point. Like, what the hell? Or somebody gets 1 more point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Just starts with a point.
yeah,
Yes.
it's much easier with 4. That's why.
need
Thank you
4.
for Chin for coming at the last minute.
Thank you, Jen.
So you really saved us.
You're welcome. It's fun.
You're awesome and beautiful.
Appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For you viewers out there, thank you for watching if you made it this far. If you have, join us on Facebook if you haven't already, and check out the page to see what the next movies are going to be, and sort of updates in case we revise this format at all or whatnot. You can find us on facebook.com/movie club collective. If you want to find me, I'm at John and Paradox on Twitter and Instagram. Jose, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Do you want to give out your...
Yeah, you can find me at Jose in Paradox. That's on Twitter, and JAVCH2 in Instagram.
All right. Chin, you have anything to promote or anything like that?
He's gang.
I just want to give a shout out to my brother. He said he's gonna tune in for this, so he
Nice.
asked me for a shout out.
Thank you so much.
Shout out to my brother Lang.
Hit like on the
Hit
YouTube
like.
page. Subscribe. It'll be a fun show. We'll have Chin on again.
Nick is off the
I
grid.
won't blame
He
you if
doesn't
you just
wanna-
watch his episodes. Though.
He doesn't want to say where he can be found.
Yeah,
in the
Nick, thank you for
Matrix.
joining us. Anything you want to throw out?
No,
Anything you're promoting?
no, I'm not promoting.
Anarchy.
No, not
You
yet.
say it.
Someday. Yeah, I don't know.
Someday.
Beards. He's
All right.
promoting beards.
Promoting
Thank you for coming. So,
Can you dig it?
can you dig it?
I dig it.
Dig it.
I think Shane digs it too.
All right, I'll see you next week. This has been a J Squared production.